It's episode 9 of the Obi One Podcast, made possible by Bet winner Chris McCarty, coming to you remotely for those of you watching on YouTube this week. No, I'm not being held hostage. I promise you I am here of my own volition. I'm with the main man, the boss man himself, John Obi Mikel. John, always lovely to see you, my friend.
Lovely to see you too, Chris. Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, I know it's a bit different this week. I'm actually
normally you're like right here with me. So where are you today?
I'm on holiday. I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm in Cobham. I promise you, I'm in Cobham. This is FA Cup third round weekend. I'm actually going to be at the bridge a little later, so that tells you when we're recording this.
Yeah.
And I must say the weather's shit.
I've heard.
It is absolutely shit. Obviously, you're in the UK, so I mean that's what you get. You live Dubai, you fly all the way to the UK, but you get, that's what you get. You get a shit weather. But
and what happens? I come to the UK, and who have you landed? You've landed a bloke who's sitting to your left, John, that you have told me his nickname, and this fella doesn't need an introduction.
No, he doesn't.
But you're sitting with Zizou, for goodness sake.
I want to put an asterisk on that. I'd like to say it was all about my football skills, but I think it was also a little bit to do with my receding hairline on the back. So, it ain't all to do with the skills. It's definitely the bald patch as well.
I think it's mostly definitely to do with his skills. I mean, he was obviously amazing footballer. A guy who on the pitch does some magics. Does things that we. For our standard before, I think definitely before a certain guy called Eden Hazard came to the club, we've never seen anything like that. This guy was really good technically very good on the ball, and likes to, do his thing on the pitch. Got in so much trouble with the special one, José Mourinho sometimes pulls him off because he's doing so much skills. But at the end of the day, amazing. What an amazing career he had for Chelsea.
You're being far too nice to him there, John, because Joe played in the number 10 position, and we all know that's the position that you wanted to play in at Chelsea.
How can I do that? Obviously, coming to the club, I knew, obviously, there's a certain guy called Joe Cole. And I knew it's going to take me years and amazing, whatever I have to do to make sure I get him off that position. But I knew that position was sealed. So obviously I had a conversation with the manager, with Jose. He's like, listen, there's no space for you in that position because a certain guy called, Joe Cole, Zizou, he's there. So, I mean, we're going to have to find a space for you. And I decided to, come down the rankings and went down to the defensive midfield, which is where I played for Chelsea all my career.
Well, listen, It's great to have you on the podcast, Joe. It's great to have you. You're looking relaxed. You're in Dubai. You've got a suntan. You're loving life.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, we come out here. I loved it. I've been coming out here since 2002. I actually bought a place on the Palm while it was still, imagine this. Fellas took me out on a speedboat and said, we're going to build the island here, and this is where your house is going to be, and this is how much it costs.
Oh, no way. So it wasn't built then?
It wasn't built, mate.
Island.
No, so... And I've gone to all my advisors who are very, very good and very sensible and looked after me all my career. And they was like, don't buy that. Whatever you do, don't buy that. And I've explained to him, no, this guy took me on a speedboat and he said, this is where the house is going to be. Anyway, I took a gamble on it. I bought it, but then I sold it, John. Listen, I've done all right. It was a good investment, but I wish I had it now because I love Dubai. I really do. I come out here, safe kids. The kids have a great time.
How long ago you sold it, though?
2000. I bought it in 2002, sold it in 2009.
Ooh,
yeah.
You kept it now.
I know.
And sell it
I can't even look at the Palm anymore. It's just I don't even look at it just because I know how much money I've left on it.
Exactly.
But listen, they say don't be greedy. Be happy with what you got. I made some money.
Exactly.
We're happy. Dubai's still here. It's great.
It's amazing. It's an amazing place. Exactly like you've said. I mean, when you look at the Palm now, it's like it's a gold mine.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be on the Palm, and the houses there, the flats, whatever, restaurant, everything is just going up and up. You know, it's absolutely amazing place to live.
You're happy here, John?
I'm really happy here.
Yeah.
You know, the kids are happy, the family, everybody's happy, and it's just growing in us. You know, the kids are enjoying it. They're in school, they're making new friends and everything. So it's going really well, and the weather is amazing. So you know, you can't really complain being out here in Dubai.
Another few weeks and I'll be looking like John, I think. Yeah.
You'll need a few more weeks than that, Joe. I need to point out this podcast not brought to you by Dubai Tourism this week. It is all about Joe. I'm talking Joe's career. And listen, Joe, talk to me about John. Because I have to ask, we've spoken to so many of your former colleagues, and no one's got a bad word to say about John. When he arrived at the football club, you were already there. You moved in 2003.
Yeah.
I believe, Joe, you were Roman Abramovich's sixth signing of the Abramovich era. And then a few years later, John Obi Mikel. Be very honest here, Joe. What was your first impressions?
My first impressions was, I'm going to be honest, he was overweight when he signed, right? That we knew there was a big, and he remembers this, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because there was a big furore because of the Manchester United connection. So in the press, it was like, is he signed for Manchester? Alex Ferguson was furious. Chelsea were fighting for him. I'm like, this kid must be a hell of a player because he must be unbelievable because everyone wanted him, and he's come into the club, and he actually, by choosing to play in the defensive midfield position, he had a harder job than anyone because he had to dislodge Makelele, and Chelsea were very smart because they probably got John in thinking Makelele's going to have to go in a few years and John's going to come in. But then you went on to see the career that you had, John, and he was a top player. And one of them players, I think, like, I played with Michael Carrick at West Ham as well. You know, players, you don't appreciate them while you're there because they're just doing their job. Yeah. You know, all the little things on the pitch that need doing, they're just there and they're mopping up. You know, and he'd done all that like Makelele and like Michael Carrick. It ain't until they're gone that you realise how good they are. And I'm not just saying it because he's here. Yeah. I don't think Chelsea, until N'Golo come in, and even N'Golo was probably a different type of player.
Box-to-box kind of player, isn't he?
But I don't think they've replaced him. So we went Makelele, John Obi Mikel, and I think I still don't think, I'm hoping Casado can be that guy. I'm hoping so. Yeah. But we need someone in that anchor, you know. But listen, what a career he had, and what a player.
Winning has always been my driving force. Growing up, I dreamt of playing for the Nigerian national team. My passion led me there. The support and unity of players and Nigerian fans led us to the final. Together, we won the African Cup of Nations. The moments that will forever be carved in my heart. Join the winning team with BetWinner.
Well, I should say, John knows this. I'm a big Man United fan. I've still not forgiven John for turning down United all those years back. And I remember, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit here. My first game at Old Trafford was January 10th, 1999. Man United 4, West Ham 1. You came off the bench, final 25
Premier League
minutes.
debut, second half.
Yes.
Premier League debut, 99. That's mad how long ago that is now, isn't it?
Wow.
It's like...
99. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gone 17, and it was and I think that was the United team that won the treble that year, right? So we was 2-0 down at half time. Frank was playing for West Ham, and Harry just, we should have been 5-0 down, and Harry just threw me on, and they were so good, man. And it was, do you know what? It was actually, when you go on a pitch and you think, right, I want to be competing with these guys regularly. Giggs, Beckham, Keane, Scholes.
They were good, weren't they? Back in the days. Oh, they were
so good.
Good.
And that was that's literally getting thrown. You can't get thrown in more at the deep end. First Premier League game away at Old Trafford, 2-0 down against Keane, Scholes and Beckham.
Yeah. We talk about as well nowadays we talk about the midfield trio kind of like, and everybody seems to forget about the Scholesy,
Yeah.
Keno, and Nicky Butt.
Yeah. Nicky Butt was a good player.
These guys were really good, though. That trio in the midfield, they were really good. I mean, everybody forgets about how good they were. I think that's something we forgot very quickly. But they were really, really good.
Yeah, they were good. And actually, going back to how football was back then in '99 when I first started, everyone sort of played a 4-4-2. So I wasn't a left or right, a winger. I ended up being like a winger stroke 10. Like there was no real 10s in them days.
Yeah.
So I played centre mid for West Ham, and I'd be like football was insane back then. It was like 1 against 1 in the midfield. There was no holding midfielder. Tactically, it was very backwards. So I'd be up against Roy Keane and Vieiras of this world, and they're like John, they're huge,
giants,
physical, really strong guys. But it was just football's different, and I'm glad it's evolved now into this tactical game. You see like players like Billy Gilmore playing in midfield, bossing in football.
Exactly.
He's shorter than me.
Exactly. Yeah.
The question with me was, do you know what I mean? The question with me was, is he big enough to play in midfield?
But
nowadays, because you can't tackle as much. I think there's more of a on technical, tactical ability, and so players like him, they're thriving now.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not wrong. And, obviously John's told us that, John, you eyeballed Fergie. You were sat across from him. You said, I'm not joining you, Sir Alex. I'm off to Chelsea. He's still not forgiven you for that. Fergie, I know he was a huge admirer of you, Joe. Was a move to United ever in the offing back then?
Yeah. I mean, this is why Fergie's probably the best we've seen, because he found me as a kid, 14, 15, and they invited me up to Manchester United. And obviously, you go up. They took me out for dinner with my mum and dad. Give me the shirts. I met Cantona, Giggs, and all of the players, and they really wined and dined me. And then he actually offered me in the '94 FA Cup final against Chelsea. He said, "Would I like to come with the team before the game?" Walk out on the pitch with the team, like as a 13-year-old boy, that's a dream.
Oh yeah.
And but I'd already decided to sign for West Ham. So my dad said to me,
but why West Ham though? I mean, if you have Manchester United,
I know, because I don't you have to understand
were you thinking if you went to United you wouldn't get as much time, playing time?
I'll be honest with you. My West Ham team as a kid was the best team, and I just liked it there. So I walked into because I was a Chelsea supporter as a kid, but Chelsea's academy back then, Chelsea's academy. I used to go to watch Chelsea as a 9, 10, 11-year-old.
Really?
And sit, as the tunnel, as you come out the tunnel. So one season I sat to the right. I know the kids that come up and get your autographs and all that. That was me. That was the family enclosure. And then we must have not had as much money the next year, so the tickets were over the other side on the benches, in the cheap seats. And then I was a ball boy, right? But the academy at the time with Chelsea my year wasn't very good.
Okay.
So I thought, I don't want to play in a team that's not good.
Yeah.
And West Ham, when I went into West Ham, I just fell in love with like the people there, really. Like the youth development officer was a great guy. The coaches was a great guy. And then you had Rio, a few years older than me. Frank, a few years older than me.
Okay.
Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe below me. So all of the best players, for some reason, was going to West Ham at that time.
Right.
So that's why I chose them. It was the best academy to join.
Okay.
And I went, and so we get back to the story. So I really wanted to, imagine walking out in an FA Cup final. I might not ever make it as a footballer. That might be the best thing I've ever done in my life. But my dad actually said to me, listen, no, you've made your mind up. You can't string the man along. So he actually had to ring up Alex and say, no, sorry, but he's going to sign for West Ham.
Oof.
And and that was it. And that was there was other times in my career they come in for us when I left West Ham at 21. But once I knew Chelsea were in for me then, that was my team. Then the heartstrings were pulling, and I was thinking, that's where I've got to go. And then later on, there was one occasion maybe they tried to make a bid, but it was always close.
It's a brave decision. Obviously, John's talked about his decision to turn down United to move to Chelsea. He's fueled by José Mourinho. There's the Abramovich millions, Mourinho, the special ones at the football club. For you to turn down United, I know you're a Chelsea fan, but Chelsea in 3, Abramovich has come in, is the promise. I mean, Ranieri's your manager, is the promise of the vision and the fact you're a Chelsea fan, Joe. Has that swayed you? Because Sir Alex Ferguson's a difficult man to turn down.
Yeah. No, honestly, the way I saw it, when I was, there was 2 decisions I had to make. I had to leave West Ham because they needed the money. So that was sort of taken out of my hands. The chairman
How
was...
does that work though? So they come up to you and say, because I've never been in that situation, so they come up to you and say, listen, Joe, we love you, we want you in the club, but there's a massive transfer fee here that we can't reject, and we have to let you go. Is that how it works?
I was 21, so it's through my agent. My agent was like, they had to basically had me, Glenn Johnson, Jermaine Defoe and Carrick, 4 young players, assets.
Okay.
And it was like, I had a year left on my contract. Jermaine had, I think, 2 years. Michael had 2 years. So ultimately, they knew they had to sell the ones with 1 year on the left. So the agent was, look, if we had a bid, you know, it would help us. It would help us if we go. So that was taken out, and then it was like, right, where do we go? Manchester United were interested, and they were talking with my agent. But Chelsea were the first team to make a move. And that happened really quickly, John, because as you know, maybe a bit younger, but during that summer when Roman come in, that was an incredible time in English football because we'd never seen this kind of money coming in, had we? And there was like, there was like, it was who's who of, it was like someone was playing Championship Manager. This guy coming in, just buying players. That's what it was like. So I thought when they started signing, Damien Duff went before me.
Crespo,
all these players that went, some of the players that went before me, I thought, right, okay, now they're stopped, because I was still 21, although I played a lot, but I thought, they're shopping at the top table now. Maybe they don't want me. And then one day the bid come in and it got negotiated in about 4 hours. And I just went with my gut instinct. I went to Stamford Bridge to do my medical. And then I looked round and as mad as it sounds, right? Because I'd been there since as a kid, right? There was a smell to it, right? I know there's a smell to it. And when your instincts kick in, I think, wow, I can see this working. Do you know? I can see where I used to sit. So once that was in my mind, any other club it was never going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Even though they give me twice as much money, I was in it, and they didn't let me leave the building until I signed the contract. So
it's a bit like you, John. John Shittu was not allowing you to leave until you signed for Chelsea.
The same. No, it's the same. Obviously, when Roman wants you. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So you
Claudio. Sorry, John. Claudio Ranieri, though. I mean, you know, John's been brilliant talking about old managers. The Tinker Man, Dilly Ding, Dilly Dong. How bonkers was Claudio?
I mean, I had like Harry Redknapp and Glenn Roeder, so I had 2 English guys. I'd never had a foreign manager. And when I spoke to Claudio, he kept like, I wasn't used to speaking broken English to people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then he kept saying, I was like, I wanted to say, where do you want me to play? And he kept going, you are my key. You are my key. Yeah, and I'm like, where? I was like, where does the key play? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, and he's talking.
When does the key play?
When? And he's like, and I'm like, because we've got about 94 players now. And in the end, I just like, he's charming, right? He is. I thought, right. You know, and I don't think enough players think like this, particularly young players. I knew I had my work cut out because if you come into Chelsea, I'm 21. We're signing the top scorer in Serie A, which we've got Denmark's right winger. I've got Damien Duff, just been one of the best players in Premier League.
Oh, he was good, Damien.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, right, okay, so I've got a battle. We've got a battle for our place, all of us. But he was good, Claudio. But it's the first time I played with a foreign manager. which was different, you know. But listen, I loved him, and he gave me my chance for Chelsea, so I'm happy.
For some reason, I've got the song, I've got the key, I've got the secret now in my mind here, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he proved it. It's the greatest, I believe it's the greatest sporting story ever written or ever told. Leicester City winning the Premier League.
Yes.
That story's well told. I got told by a very good source, Joe, and you can put this story to bed if it's false. Jose arrives in the summer of 2004. It's, I believe, not common knowledge, but Jose was unsure. You were on the unsure list.
Yeah.
But you went back early in the summer. You were there 2 weeks early at the training ground, and he was bowled over by that. Talk to us about that.
Well, I went to Euro 2004 and didn't play a minute for England. And I was angry with that. So I had, you know, I think that frustration boiled over. Played finished the season under Ranieri as a regular. We played the semi-final of the Champions League, finished second in the league, and then the new manager comes in, and then you start hearing he wants to sign Deco, who just, what a player he was. And I'm thinking, so, you know, I went away and I was just getting itchy feet, and I thought, I just don't want to let my dream die at Chelsea after 1 year, you know. So I went back in, and Jose being Jose, he, after 3 or 4 days of training, I went to see him, and he was like, listen, he said, if I want Deco, I can have him. He said, but I've got you, but you've got, and he said, you know, Arjen Robben coming in, Damien Duff. Who else was there at that time? Eidegun Johnson played in sort of attacking midfield position as well. He listed Thiago. He said, you've got to do this, 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 and this. And I just was like, okay, good. And then I had a good pre-season, I remember. First game of the season against Manchester United, I'm thinking, I've got a chance of starting here, John, right? I've got a chance of starting.
Just left you on the bench.
He's not even on the bench, in the stand. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I've come back. I could have been in Iron Napa for 2 weeks. And now
You've done all that for nothing.
Yeah, I thought I've done all of that for nothing. I was fit, I was strong. We beat Manchester United. Ida scored.
Ooh.
Scrappy game. And I thought, I'm on the phone to my agent saying like,
you're thinking that's it here.
That's it,
because
done.
Even because we won as well.
Yeah, thinking, I thought, well, listen, this is the sign of the times.
Yeah.
But then the next week we go to Birmingham, who were a very good side at the time. Really tough place to go to. And he put me on the bench, and he said, you've trained well this week. You're going to be on the bench. You might get a chance. So I'm like, okay, all right. So you think like you need bits of luck in your career as well. Yeah. And I've come off the bench with 10 minutes to go. It's 0-0. I played off the left, cut inside, come in, score, bottom corner.
Yeah, yeah.
We win 1-0, and then it just changes then. Do you know what I mean? And then start the next game, and then it just sort of, and then he, you know, listen, he always rotated me, Robben, Duff, Sean Wright-Phillips, Maludo, Kalu. You know, that was his thing, you know.
Yeah.
And
you guys never knew who was actually going to start.
No chance of knowing.
Yeah, you guys never knew that. And Jose always had that thing where he always wants players to be on their toes.
Yeah.
And I think if there's one position he really did that was on the wing, because he knows, of course, Robben with his injuries and all, pretending sometimes, okay, this is not me. I don't want to pretend he was injured and stuff like that. But so Jose found a way to make sure he kept you guys on your toes.
Yeah.
And that by not telling you guys who's starting.
Yeah.
So,
I think that you're right, John. And I think if you look at Manchester City now with Pep, and you think Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, obviously last year, Doku, all of them who played there, they all get rotated. What was their best? Like, it was just, Jose was just ahead of the curve with how football is. The spine of your team, like where John played, you know, the centre halves, the fullbacks, the way we played, you know, you need to play then 90 minutes. But what he knew with us, he knew, like, listen, if I'm playing crap, and I'm 60 minutes in, he looks behind him, he's got Robben and Duff.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll be like, fresh, get on. Do you know what I mean? I'd do the same thing. It's just, it was, you know, and we were so strong, and you'd go on a pitch and you'd know you'd had to affect the game. Like, it was just, it was great management. I don't think the new generation
would have
like that. Everyone likes to be, mollycoddled a little bit.
He said that, didn't he, when he was in the pod? I don't know if you listened to his pod.
I did, yeah.
And he said, listen, if I'm with the new generation the way I was with you guys, he'd probably be in jail. And, and that's true. You remember? I mean, he was like an angry, crazy guy, in the dressing room, kicking everything, destroying everything. Doesn't speak to players for a couple of weeks and things. Even the emotional side of it alone, it's crazy. But
he done this to me, right? We played a game. Like I had loads of. I love Jose. Yeah, I love him. But like people always think like we had a bad relationship. We had lots of arguments.
Have a lot of arguments though, a lot.
But I love him. But I remember I played against. It was like a league game. We won 3-0 at home. It was just I don't even remember who it was against. I set a goal up, or maybe set 2 goals up. Thought I played well, right? But then. Like a couple of, like you said, probably took a few little flicks around, right? And then I've gone through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and I should have just slotted it in, but I saw Crespo to the side of me, and I thought, well, I'm just going to do like the eyes and give it to him. Yeah. And he's not run anyway. They're defenders, and I didn't think nothing of it. We won 3-0. Mm-hmm. Most managers wouldn't think anything of it. Just like, but we're doing a warm down the next day. And this was before your time. And we was all sitting there. I felt feeling pretty good about myself, playing well, we're winning games. And he come over and just said, see that? You do that shit again. You do that shit again, boy. He said, you'll never fucking play for me again. And I was like, what? I'm stretching my calf. And I'm just like, really? Like, do you know what I mean? And there was another game.
After setting up 2 goals and winning 3-0.
Yeah. And another game. I scored the winner against Liverpool, right? This is again before your time. And I was like, they were our big rivals. Yeah. And I thought I was the bee's knees, John. I've gone out that night, banging in the winner against Liverpool for your club. We had a great night. And before like phones. And,
well, you had a great night though. You always had a great night back then. I've got a story where you lift up the fucking window. We lived that one. Yeah.
So anyway, bang, the goals. So goals gone in, gone out. Great night. No technology. Wake up the next morning, and my phone's blowing up, and he's just like battered me in the press.
No.
He was like, he has 2 sides, Joe Cole, the beautiful side and the ugly side, and I need more of the beautiful side. And he was just like, but he don't do this and he don't do that. He don't, you know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
Just a way of just keeping us down.
Yeah.
But I think I think he knew every time he'd done that to me, I would respond. We'd have an argument and I'd respond. And but I don't know if that's the character now of the players. Listen, I think the modern player has better than us in a lot of ways, like physically, technically, tactically, but the mentality wise, because they're not pushed like we were, in that sense.
I was going to say there, because I've read, Joe, that you have said he dug you out all the time. Like you were his target. And I wonder, and I'll ask you both of this, because, John, we've spoken about this at length. The dynamics of a dressing room. A manager needs a fall guy to set the message, to set the kind of tone for the rest. And I'll ask you this, John. Did you ever have run-ins with Jose? Were you a target of Jose's kind of anger at times, or was it just Joe?
John was his baby, man. He loved John. I've got to say, there's only one time I've ever heard him shout at John, and we was playing a friendly at Glasgow Rangers. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. He killed me. He absolutely killed me.
He loved John. He never said anything to John.
He killed me.
He's
go on then.
He's gonna say it.
Yeah, go on.
He's gonna. We're playing Rangers in a friendly, and well, listen, none of us are playing well.
Yeah.
But he's gone. He's up, and he's irate. He's so angry, Jose, and I'm right in front of him there like that, and he's going, John, you're playing like a fucking elephant, and he started doing the trunk sign of like, right in front of me. And because it's the pre-season, I've got the towel on my shoulder at half time, and I know I'm going to start. Like, when you're in school and the teachers, you shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah.
And I've gone like,
were you laughing?
I've had to go like that, put the towel on my shoulders, and go like that, because you're like your face is like that.
I was looking at him. I was like, why is he? Because I actually know the whole team were playing really bad.
Yeah.
But then but that's what I said about him as well.
Yeah.
Jose, when he's angry, he picks one person.
Yeah.
He picks one. He can be angry with 11.
Yeah.
But then there's one person
Yeah.
that he really wants to go after.
Yeah.
And that day, like Joe said, he killed me.
Yeah.
In Glasgow, he killed me.
Yeah.
You playing like a fucking elephant. You can't run. You can't. What is you? Destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. And then what happened? I think I went back. Did I go back? I think I went back. And after 10 minutes or so, he took me out.
Yeah.
He took me out.
Yeah.
He was like that. And Jose, that's exactly what we're saying. If you do that nowadays, it's
Who stood up to him? Who was the player that stood up to him? I know, Fergie, again, I reference United a lot. They're my club growing up. I know Fergie, there was a couple of challenges. I think Steve Bruce famously stood up one time and said, enough's enough. Was there anyone at Chelsea that he would come for that would give it back? I mean, Joe, you said it was you.
Do you know what? I don't ever remember anyone I had an argument with him once. I had a few arguments with him, but my arguments were always in the office. Do you know what I mean? One-on-one, it wasn't really. I knew best not to if he's saying that. Was you there when he dug out Ricky Carvalho? That was a belter. That was hilarious. And Ricky, listen,
Rico's his boy. Yeah,
Ricky's his boy.
Yeah,
took him everywhere. Loved him.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Again, there's no rhyme or reason for it. He never played badly for more than 2 games, Ricky. I've never seen him hardly ever made a mistake. But he I think he might have been just before you come in.
Yeah, probably.
Ricky's, he's gone to Ricky. Yeah, he said something in Portuguese, and then he said, you're shit. I'm not going to play you. I'm going to play JT, then Gallas. And then if I don't play them, I'm going to play Robert Hoof.
I'm going to play the kid.
Then I'm going to play the kid, Steve Watt. Then if I don't play Steve Watt, I'm going to play the kit man. I'm not playing.
I think it was there.
You might have been there. And I was just like,
I was, yeah.
I get the giggles when there's things like that. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm just, my belly's going over.
Yeah.
But I just liked it better because it was done, it was dealt with, and this is sometimes at half time. And
Most of the time.
And you got to sort of process. If it's come for you and you're the one, you got to process it. You got to go out and perform. Mm-hmm. Invariably, most players did. I think you did. He was testing you to see if you could perform, and if you could perform after that, if he could trust you in the big games, in the big moments.
Yeah.
And I think. From us, now I've done a bit of coaching, John. I think that's why he was doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you understand a bit more why he was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't he said on here. He said, you can't do it with a modern player now because times are different. And listen, who are we to say times better now? You know what I mean? Are people a bit more, a bit more kinder to each other? Certainly.
No, Joe, I definitely do think. When back in the day, we were, you would say, parents raised men, kind of, because we were able to deal with the situations. When I look at the games now, I'm not saying anything bad about, obviously, the club. But then you look at the games, you look at the effort and the players when they finish playing the games. It's like, they go through games, probably 5, 6, 7 games without any player having to go at each other.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Even in training, there's fights.
Yeah.
There's fights, players, going after each other, punching each other, kicking each other because you want to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
And right now, I watch the Chelsea team. There's nothing like that. Everybody's so friendly with each other. It's like, I want to invite you tomorrow for lunch, coffee. If I shout at you on the pitch today, probably you're not gonna answer my phone. Things like that. It's just not what we used to back in the day. So
I agree, John. And because the job I do now, where I'm working, I'm meeting the guys, and I'm interviewing them, and I speak to them, and I still find it strange. I say to. After the game, when they're all going up to the opposition, like talking to each other, I didn't speak to Rio for about 8 years, unless we met up for England. My Michael Carrick, I roomed with him at West Ham, but when we were up, like, it was just like, no, you're there and we're there, and that's it. And we're that.
Yeah.
But these guys, like I said, I'm on the fence as to, you know, I think it's better that they're a bit more open and we're talking about things a bit more, but, you know, and they're all great guys. Like, you know, all of them. I honestly, John, I go to Chelsea a lot and I interview the guys. Like Conor Gallagher, for instance, what a guy. And to be fair, he's one. He gives it.
I was just gonna say, Conor for me is the guy that when he finished playing a game, you can tell, okay, this guy has been in a football game.
Yeah,
he gives all. He gives his all. He's running, he's tackling, he's giving 110%.
Yeah.
Conor is the one player that I will single out and say, this guy is fighting for the badge.
Absolutely.
Apart from Conor, there's nobody else. I will really.
But to play devil's advocate here a little bit, truthfully, is Conor Gallagher at the standard that Chelsea need?
I think Conor. I think I've seen the improvement in him, and one thing I put above anything else, he's got ability. But like, believe me, I've seen him up close. He's a very talented player. You know, I think he'll keep getting better in the same way that Jordan Henderson did at Liverpool. Yeah. And I think it'd be a travesty if Chelsea let him go. You know, they're talking about the homegrown players.
Yep.
Like him, there's been rumours of him going for Tottenham. But please don't. Like, if I could speak to the owners now, just don't do that. Like, first of all, you got to understand. Like, look, 2 ex-players here who watch Chelsea all the time, and we both singled him out. You know, is Conor as gifted as Enzo? Is he as gifted as Cole Palmer's? Maybe, arguably not technically. You know, but in my team, if I'm picking a team I need to win, he's playing every week. And if you let that go at the dressing room as well, the unseen things that you miss, do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Just if someone's listening at the club, which I hope they are,
they do.
Please keep Conor Gallagher. Forget, you know, how much money it's worth on the spreadsheet. Find the money somewhere else. But I think the kid's like going to get better and better, and he's going to be a massive player for Chelsea.
Do you recognise the football club now, Joe? You know, you look at the new owners that have come in. It's a bit harem-scarum, in my opinion. £1 billion has been spent. Yeah. Still think they're finding their identity, moving away from the Abramovich era. Do you recognise the football club that you've said on this podcast you supported as a wee boy? Yeah,
well, that's a great question. But to be honest with you, the football club I supported as a boy and the team I played for was like 2 different things, John. Like, it was honestly, mate. I was a ball boy behind the goal. You've probably seen the pictures, and there was people used to park the cars behind the goal. So I used to live. There was Premier League. I'm telling you, there wasn't even seats at one end.
Yeah.
You'd be sitting on the benches, and
that's crazy. That,
you know, I watched my heroes. Like, I'm talking Kerry Dixon, players he wouldn't years ago.
Yeah.
But so I've seen it evolve. You know, and in Roman's era, we went and won everything and, you know, become a global team.
Yeah.
With the new guys, the new owners, like, I think if we sat them down and that would be great to get one of them on your podcast. Yeah. I think they should do more things like that to speak to the crowd and the fans.
To the fans, yeah, exactly.
You know, I think they believe we've got a young squad now. And I think they believe in 2 years' time we'll be up there. And
only time will tell. Yeah, I think you just said it's good for somebody from the club to actually come out and speak to the fans and say, listen, this is our vision. This is where we want to go.
Yeah.
we know it's going to take a bit of time, obviously, because of the transition. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
And they've done well. We're not sitting here criticizing them. They've done well. They've spent money.
Yeah.
They've bought really good young players who we think in the next 4 or 5 years they will be world-class players. We hope so. But they need to come out and say that to the fans because the fans are sitting there not knowing what's going on. So for one of them to come out and say that will be really good. And I hope...
And you take him on the podcast, will you? A John Obi Mikel exclusive.
Exactly. So, you know...
If you're listening, watching this talk, come on.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
No doubt about it. It would be nice. I think you're right. I think there needs to be a little bit more transparency there. Yeah. Poch, you know, I've said it. John knows this. Anyone that listens or watches this podcast will know I'm a huge Graham Potter fan. I think he's going to be a success in his next job, wherever he goes. Is Poch moving that football club along enough for you, Joe? Is it not a little bit like Jesus, had they kept with Graham, would they not have seen a little bit more, I guess, growth? Because Poch had stagnated a little bit for me.
I just think, I think you can go all the way back to Thomas Tuchel. You know what I mean? Thomas Tuchel's proven. I look at Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, right? And he lost 12 games last year, you know, and now they're sitting on top of the league. Top managers, you know, they
find a way.
They find a way. And Thomas Tuchel, for whatever reasons, the club went away from Thomas. Graham Potter come in. You know, maybe I think Graham Potter will be a top manager, and he has proven himself at the Premier League level. Maybe it was just a jump too much for him in terms of you know, like the club that's used to having Ancelotti, Scolari, José Mourinho, Conte. Graham
These
Potter's,
are proven managers as well. Yeah,
there's a different like this is my thing about becoming a manager and doing. You could do 1 million sessions in the world. You could have every session known to a coach, to a man, but you know, tactically you could know everything. But when you're standing out there with 11 top world-class players, 5 of them hate you, 6 of them like you, the others on the bench hate you even more. You know, the fans are on your back, big pressure from the media. You know, can you make the good decisions, right? And you know, sometimes it's the jobs, you know, maybe for Graham Potter, that would have been the next step for after him. Maybe they needed to go somewhere before that. And then Frank coming back, I think was so hard for him, John, honestly, because by that time the group it was right in the middle of the transition spell.
Everybody was going out, coming in. I mean, we didn't know who was staying, who was going. It was like in and out. You know, it was so tough for Frank the second spell.
And then Poch has come in, and again he's firefighting all the time. Hasn't helped him with the injuries. I don't know what's going on at the club now. It seems to be every 5 minutes my phone's pinging. Someone else has pulled an hamstring. Someone else is. Do you know what I mean? It's like what
Reece
they do.
Reece James. I mean, I love him. I love him as a player. I love him, and I think he should be the captain of the football club. But you can't be the captain of a football club if you are constantly getting injured. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. But we need, obviously, we played with the greatest captain I think a football club will ever have. Constantly there. It doesn't matter. He played with broken toes. Remember that?
Training.
Exactly. JT. Broken toe. He played, trained with it. This was what we had. And this is something that will always galvanize the team if your captain is always there and you always see who is the leader. But now we don't have that. You know, I like Reece, but I hope he sorts out, you know, his injury problems and come back and be there for the team, because this is now when we actually do need somebody there, you know.
I agree.
So for me, you know, I hope he comes back stronger.
I think you need to take your time with him, with Reece. I love him. I think he's a great player, great lad. And but you know, I want to say to him, listen, it looks like he's doing too much. He's top heavy, too much gym. And I think when he goes onto the pitch, maybe he's trying so hard because he wants to do so well for the club. I think he's doing too much. I think we need to go with Reece, use him sparingly and build him up, and to make him robust enough to play regularly. I don't think for 1 second question his mentality, because I know the lad and he wants to win. He wants to win and he wants to do well for Chelsea, and I'm sure of that. I just think it's the people around him telling him, you know, lift this weight, lift that. He's probably spending hours a day in the gym, and sometimes someone just needs to say to him, listen, you're Reece James, you're a great player. You'll always be a great player. You'll be 60, and I'll give you the ball, and you'll be able to whip it. Do you know what I mean? Just get yourself on the pitch. Once the game's won after 60 minutes, come off, sit down, relax. Exactly. We're playing Preston in the FA Cup. You know, go and have a day. Don't go in the gym. Just. I think a lot of these young players overtrain, and I think at Chelsea a lot of them are overtraining, and you know, that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't have all the information, but from what I see from the outside, there's far too many injuries, and I think that usually means they're doing too much. Too much
in the gym.
Interesting that. You mentioned Liverpool. I want to get to your move from Chelsea to Liverpool. I've got to put one story to bed. We've talked a lot about Jose. He is the gift that keeps on giving. Everyone's fascinated by Jose. You've got to tell us the story, Joe. He loved a certain car that you bought, did he not, Jose?
He did, yeah. He did. Do you know what? I'm not really one for cars, right? But one of my dreams was to play for Chelsea Football Club. One of my dreams was to play for England.
Yeah.
And one of my dreams was to have a Ferrari.
Ooh.
Right? Okay. I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle as well. There's still time for that. But anyway, I've achieved 3 out of 4. I got the Ferrari, and he loved it. He loved his cars, José. And it's the only real amazing car I've got. Yeah. I ever had, and he loved it, and he kept trying to buy it off me. Or I was just hinting. I was just like, yeah, maybe if a new deal comes my way, maybe we can do something. But he loved it, And I was just like, if I start at the weekend, you can have it, Gaffer. You can have it, But
I love it.
But the reason I love that car, and it's actually enough talking about some bad business moves I've done. That car, it was a Ferrari Scaglietti. It's a Ferrari Scaglietti, right? And I was very lucky to get it, because when you're in the height of your career, they probably want the young England players to be in the car. So I was very lucky to get it, and it turned out to be, if I would have held on to it even to this day, it would have gone up in value. Yeah. But I ended up selling it, and it was only because I'm so tight. I tell you why, I kept scratching it in the car park at Chelsea, costing me a fortune. I went, no, I'm not doing it no more. Because you're so tight at Stamford Bridge.
Right. Oh yeah, the park.
Yeah. So
you eventually got rid of it, but José didn't buy it. Just to be clear,
he didn't.
No.
I think he would have done, but I think he got the sack. Otherwise, I was whilst we were negotiating. Yeah.
I know, listen, Carlo Ancelotti came along, we've spoken about him a lot.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested to know, a boyhood Chelsea fan, the day that you leave the club, and John, you've spoken about it, you made the move to China, didn't quite work out with you and Antonio Conte, that day arrives, you've got to leave the football club. You, Joe, went from a big club to another monster club, an institution in the shape of Liverpool. Arsenal and Tottenham linked. Truth to that, who else was in for you, and how did the
Arsenal? The situation was me after the 2008 Champions League final.
Yeah,
I had 2 years left on my contract. I won Player of the Year.
That's right.
But this negotiations started the following season when Scolari come in. And I was playing regularly. Not to the level I was the season before, but none of us were. We dipped off of it.
Yeah, we did.
And negotiations started, and we was getting there. But then I'd done my knee and I was 29, nearly 29, or just turned 29, I think. I'd done my knee, and that was probably the start, the end of my career, John, because I was never the same player after that. I'd done everything: ACL, PCL, MCL, and I was out for 11 months. So it hurt me, but in hindsight, Chelsea were right. From a business perspective, they stopped the negotiations to see how I was when I come back. So I missed the rest of the season. We won the FA Cup. I missed against Everton. I missed the only cup final I didn't play in while I was at the club.
Was that Gus Hiddink?
Yes. Yeah. And we won that.
Yeah, we won that, yeah.
And
best mate, Joe.
Yeah. No, you're not a fan?
Who?
You're not a fan of Gus?
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan. Big fan. He's my dad, isn't he? You remember everybody used to say, exactly.
Yeah.
Gus is like your
all the managers love John, don't they? It's that face, isn't it? It's the smile.
Yeah. No, Gus was one who really absolutely loved me.
Yeah.
Every time he came back to the club, I was like the number one player on the board.
Yeah.
That's
good, man. I'm not surprised, John. I'm not surprised. But anyway, I got.
You missed.
So they stopped from being in a really strong position to negotiating a contract, doing my knee. Chelsea pulled back from negotiations. Then I come back the next season in October time. By this time, Carlo had come into the club. October. And Anelka was playing well. Malouda was playing well. Kalou was playing well. Drogba was playing well. Yeah. And then I was coming in off the bench, playing well, but it was hard to break back into the team. And it got to, the guys went away to the African Nations Cup, I remember, in the January. So I knew I'd have a chance to play regularly. I played every game, I think it was 6 or 7, 8 games in a row. played really well. And then there was a big, and then they started to, we can offer you this new contract. It wasn't at what it was before. And then my ego got involved a little bit. And then it was just, football was more of a struggle. Like I would play, knee would blow up. I couldn't do certain things that I used to be able to do. And I had 3 months.
I remember sometimes you finish a game and you always had the eyes back.
Yeah,
right, on your knee and stuff. Yeah.
I needed it, John. It was like a lot of pain. It was a lot of pain. Anyone who's had that injury will tell you, it's very rare you get back to where you were. Maybe nowadays it's different. They have different technologies and that, don't they? But then they stopped the contract negotiations. But Carlo actually wanted me to stay. And it was, I think, so in the background, there was the manager, and I believe Carlo, because I think he's a good, decent human. I want you to stay. He said, I want to play you, but Kalu was playing so well, and so was Malouda. And I'm like, and I'm sensible enough to know that they're playing well. Like, I don't knock on the manager's door if they're not. So I was like, yeah. And then, but I was playing well when I played as well. That's why we won the double. Everyone was doing their bit. Yeah. And it got to the end of the season. We had the Man United game at Old Trafford, and this is so my body was just failing me, and I think Kalu must have been injured for him not to play for whatever reason. But I started. It was a title decider up at Old Trafford, and I knew I was starting, and I thought we had to win the game. We couldn't draw, otherwise we'd lose the league. And I pulled my back right in the last 2 minutes. And anyone who's pulled their back know the pain is like, so as I literally can't walk, I'm feeling all the shooting pains down my right leg. Yeah. I'm walking off past Carlo and Clem, and he's like, are you ready for this tomorrow? Like, you're a big player, giving me the G up. And I'm thinking, I could fall over and collapse because my leg, but I'm not telling him, because if I tell him, he's going to play someone else, and I'm playing tomorrow. Yeah. So I've grabbed Glenn Driscoll. Yeah. I said, Glenn, I said, as soon as Carlo went away, I basically collapsed. I went, my back's fucked. My back's fucked. I said, get me. And he went, don't worry, we'll work on you. So we went in the pool. We worked for hours. And credit to him, like, he's a really good physio. Worked for hours in the pool, loosened off. I didn't do anything serious, but my back had seized up where my knee weren't functioning anyway. Yeah. Got all the anti-inflammatory. Get on the coach, get there, treatment all night. I still can't walk for breakfast properly. Ooh. But then it's loosening off. I thought, right, I'm playing because this, it's shit or bust. Yeah. And then we start the game, and they're on fire. They're popping it back. This is just hard, man. Old Trafford with one leg. and then scored a goal to make it 1-0.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Flicked it in. Yeah. And then we got Didier puts us 2-0 up. Yeah. And we know now it's in our hands now. We can win the league. Yeah. And anyway, we win the game. And then I don't think I can train for 3 or 4 days after. I really wrecked myself. But that was like how my body was after that. Yeah. And then I'm thinking to myself, I think something subconsciously thought to myself, I need to, I'm never going to get to the player I was. So I thought I've got to leave. Really, you know what I mean? I don't want to finish my Chelsea career. Just, sitting down there on the injury table. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then I had a choice between Liverpool or Spurs because Arsenal pulled out, and I just couldn't go to Spurs. I just couldn't go, John. It would have made sense. Harry Redknapp was the manager. They had a good team. Yeah. I lived in London. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? All my pals half my pals are Spurs.
Spurs, yeah, they live in London as well.
I just couldn't do it. I was just like, I'm really intrigued. My daughter was just born, and Liverpool's a great club. It didn't work for me there, but it's a fantastic club, institution globally. Yeah. And if I could have my time again, I'd probably go, no, do you know what? Wait. And I would have gone abroad somewhere hot because the actual playing in the heat helped my knee. Because after that, really? Yeah, because after that, I sort of went Liverpool, West Ham, Villa, but I kept, I couldn't. I had a good season in France, but it weren't until I was, my knee was just managing my injuries. Yeah. But managing to still play well sometimes, but never really consistent like I had been. And then I never played for England again after 2010. And then when I went to America, it was like a miracle. Living in the sun, my knee was like 60, 70. It's still not right now, like, you know, but I can still play. But it was like a miracle. So if I could have a hindsight, I would have gone abroad somewhere hot, maybe Spain or southern Italy somewhere. And I think I would have been able to play at the top level a little bit longer. But ultimately, I wasn't the same player after that knee injury. And that's sad, but I had a long career.
It's interesting, you know, you say there you wish perhaps if you had your time again you would have gone abroad. I want to talk about your year in France, Joe, because John Obi has spoken an awful lot about Eden Hazard, so much so that now John's not on Eden's Christmas card list anymore because John talks about it all the bloody time.
Well, what's happened?
His love of rice puddings. I think that's what's...
It's not just my phone call, is it? No, he's fine. He's a good guy.
He's good. I'm messing. But you had the year in France. I was looking at stats today. 38 games in Ligue 1 that season. 20 goals, 18 assists. Mind-boggling numbers for a wide player.
Yeah.
For a kid. You knew him before. In a lot of ways, the world knew him. Before John knew him. Before I knew him.
Yeah.
What was he like in Lille?
Well, when I spoke to the manager, Rudy Garcia, who's a fantastic manager, by the way, he's been really good. I mean, it was a great adventure for me and my family to go out to there. But I spoke to him, and, you know, I went to the manager I went, where'd you see me playing? He went, well, he got the board out. He went, well, he said, you're going to be here and Eden's here in the middle. And then if I'll do this, but whatever happened, Eden was in the middle. And I'm like, but I want to be there. And he's gone, no, he said, listen, you could help us with your experience and you could do this and do this. And that. But Eden is a very special player. And I was thinking how special is this player? You know what I mean? I've seen, listen, you know, it's like at Chelsea, every kid that come to train with us was going to be the new big thing. And then they ended up going to that, you know. Yeah. But the first day I saw him, John, he come in and he had he's sitting there with his hands like that.
No way.
And I'm like, all right, how you doing? I'm
straight away from that age.
Yeah,
I thought you only started down.
No. This is all natural. He's like that, very relaxed. Like literally, the manager's having to pick him up to get him out to train him.
Oh my god!
And he's gone out in the training field. And he's not moving. He's just laughing and joking and not moving. And then he get the ball and he done something, and I was like, wow. Okay, might be luck. And then get bang, goal. And I'm like, wow. And I've just said to the gaffer, Rudy Garcia, I said, yeah, play him in the middle. And I sort of played a little bit deeper, which I really, actually really liked. I played in a more sort of midfield role at times. And he went, because Dimitri Payet was there as well as a youngster. Okay. We had a hell of a team. We finished second or third. I think it was second. Maybe we dropped to third last game of the season, but we had a fantastic team. And then playing with them too, the biggest compliment I can play for Eden Hazard was it even made Payet look just average, like a good player. Yeah. But Hazard was unbelievable. And he asked me about, he had all the clubs wanting him. And I just thought to myself, listen, I knew how much he loved
really? So he came to you and said, listen...
I remember, I don't want to get any clubs in trouble, but I remember there was the Manchester derby and one of the Manchester clubs was sending over a private jet for him and his family to come and watch the game, tapping up. Do you know what I mean? Whatever you do, they're trying
last minute tapping up.
And I'm saying, listen, forget about Manchester, mate. Listen, you need to be in London. And because, I knew I could see he's a family guy, kids from a young age, his brothers was there. I said, you'll love Chelsea because it's a great club. The fans will love you because they love players who play like you. And I said, you're a train away from home if you need because he's a homeboy. And you know what he's like. Yeah. And everyone thinks he's
agent Cole. He did the deal, didn't he?
No commission, 20%. Nothing. Nish.
He got
Nish. I wish I had 20% of Eden Hazard's agent. I'd buy that house back in the Palm.
Give him a house back.
I mean, he was a special talent. I mean, when you look at his stats, it's incredible. Double figures goals, double figures assists. I think, if memory serves, 5 successive seasons across France and into England. We've spoken a lot about him, but there's a fascination about him. You know, at Leo, you then see his transformation and his growth at Chelsea, Joe. I mean, ultimately, is he the best that you have playing alongside?
He's the best player I've played with, the most talented player I've played with. I don't know what John thinks.
I say the same. I'd say the same. Technically.
Yeah.
Easy.
I would put Arjun Robben up with him, but Arjun could go with the left foot. Eden could go both sides. So I think Eden's just that next bit. And
I think for me, I wouldn't say Arjun, because for me, he was always injured constantly. He was always injured.
But John, only at Chelsea though, because
exactly
playing in the Premier League, some players can't play in the Prem.
Exactly, though. But when he played in Bayern, he was always week in, week out playing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying, like, or Madrid when he...
Yeah.
Exactly. He was always playing. But only at Chelsea, he was always injured.
Yeah, but you know why? At Bayern Munich, you're playing... Look at what Harry Kane's doing to the German league.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing for Bayern Munich, and I watched him, and I think he's one of the best I played with. But he didn't have to be explosive all the time. No. There was none of this connecting with the team, running back. He would stand out on the right wing, give him the ball when he's a genius, and he'd just do that and score.
Yeah.
But, the demands on the Premier League, particularly in that era for wingers, was like, me and Damien Duff, we love Arjun, obviously, and we used to, before your time, Jose used to set us up. It'll be two out of the three would play. One would be on the right and one would be on the left, and we'd flip it as Jose left it to us as we see fit. And say if you're playing against Arsenal and you got Ashley Cole as the left back and say Stepanovs as the right back or something. So Robben had the great habit of like, he'd work out who was the weaker fullback and just go and stand there and look at you. And he'd both go, nothing to do with Ashley Cole. And I'll be going, I'll go and deal with Ashley. And he'd stay there.
He'd just stay there.
Yeah, clip that. And ultimately, it worked because he one-on-ones, he was like, bang, it beat some of them.
You've said something that I'm going to pick up on. I find it amazing. José Mourinho, hard with the brush, that everything, there was nothing left to chance. You just said there, Joe, that his wide men in that first iteration, the first Chelsea team, he gave you the freedom to decide who to wear.
If we wanted to do it, it was quite, I really enjoyed it. Because we could come in, we could float inside and thicken up the midfield, and you had the freedom to do. And I was smart enough to know as well, if they had a really, really slow fullback, Duffer and Robben were a lot quicker than me, so they'd go and play high and wide up against them, and I'd probably come and drop in and come a bit closer to the midfield. But I think other managers wanted it a bit more rigid, so sort of. When Jose left, I was more off the right, playing more than the left. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I play on the left because we had Malouda with his left foot.
Yeah.
Kalou could play both sides, couldn't he? Kalou and central. Yeah. Kalou was more, I'd say I was a midfielder playing on the wing and Kalou was a forward playing on the wing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Kalou had great timing of his runs.
He had a great timing because he knew exactly when to get in the box.
Yeah.
Because he could see the ball coming from that side and he knows his timing has to be right. Perfect. Yeah. And he did it really well. And I think that's actually right when you've just said that.
That's that. Yeah. I think
I never thought about that.
And I think in the modern game, I think me and John would probably make a nice little midfield pairing there.
We should.
Pivoting off each other. Sharing the number 10 role.
Just sitting off there, you know what I mean?
Pep would have loved you too. I'm conscious of time. We've kept you about an hour, Joe. I've got a few more, and it's been great to have you on the pod.
I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it.
Here talking about the game till the cows come home. It's interesting. I think, in England, in Britain, we've got this thing where a young player is built up to be the next superstar. Wayne Rooney had it, and it's amazing to me. I hear so many people that say, despite the fact he won all that he won, he is Manchester United's record goal scorer. He was England's, but Wayne Rooney never fulfilled his potential. Joe Cole, natural talent. When you look back in your career, Joe, any regrets do you feel when you were kind of looking at what I want to go and achieve? Did you achieve all that you did? When you look back on it, is your career complete?
The one that missed me was the Champions League. I think 4 semi-finals I played and then a final in Moscow. I actually come off for Anelka in the final because I'd never taken a penalty in my career up to that point, and obviously Nico was a penalty taker, and so that would have been my penalty. But I regret not winning. Not regret because, you know, you get what you're given. Like I said, you know, you got to be happy with what you got in life. You know, I'm just thinking. Do
you think if you stayed on the pitch, you would have
if
scored that penalty? If you eventually thought, you know what?
I know where I would have gone. I know what side I would have gone, and it was the other side to Nico.
Would you have gone the other side?
100%. That was my side. Yeah. Listen, so sometimes it's.
So we would have won the Champions League back then.
Like you said it. I can't. But no, that was the keepers in the game.
Because if you didn't win the Champions League in 2018, fucking hell, Joe, you've killed us. You would have stayed on the pitch and just gone the other way.
Yeah, but, you know, so missing out on the Champions League, because he won everything else, it hurt. See, that was an interesting one for me. When they won it in 2012, I was sitting in Lille getting ready for a game. Oh. And the feelings, John, right? And like looking back now as a 42-year-old man, like there was like a jealousy. Like I got, you know, natural. I was like, I wanted to be there with the lads. Like, and then there was a happiness, and then there was like oh man, I should have been there. Then there was a happiness, you know, all these emotions mixed up, you know, and it was very hard. And then like I'd rung like some of the lads who I knew, you know, like the Ashleys and messages and then I'm like, I'm so happy for them and John, you know, but it wasn't meant to be. But what's to say, you know, maybe coaching career down the line, maybe it's meant for me that way. But going back to the only regret I have, and it's nothing I could do anything about, I think to myself, if I wouldn't have done my knee in Southend and I'd had another 5, 6, 7 years at Chelsea, I think I would have won it with 2012 with the lads, and maybe, you know, would have played, you know, but there's nothing you could do about that. I started playing professional football in the Premier League at 17, got smashed to bits for them, but I think by the time I was 29, I was just an old car, and the fan belt ran out effectively. The knee's gone. You know,
you weren't that Ferrari. That Ferrari was long gone by then.
Yeah, that's it. I was a Ford Cortina by the end.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's fascinating because in there you've mentioned a Chelsea regret. You know, John, we've spoken about it. You climbed the mountain with Chelsea, but you also climbed the mountain with Nigeria. You won the African Nations. And I look at you, Joe, part of the golden generation. England have got one again. You know, I look at this England team and think to myself, it's maybe even better than the golden generation.
It is.
Is any part of you regretful that England team didn't go and...
Yeah, regretful. But what I would say is, like, it's collectively, we just wasn't there. Like, we never put it all together. You know, you look at the 2002 team that won it, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo. The one that missed out for us was the 2004 when Greece won it. That was when we should have won a tournament, you know. But I often think sometimes, you know, Rooney got injured in that tournament, changed the game against Portugal in the quarterfinal, broke his foot. 2006, another time we probably should have won it. You know, I think we was better than the Italian team. Rooney got sent off in 2006, you know, and then 2010 and 2008, we were miles off it. So them 3 years from 2002 to 2006, I just think tournament football is just not, it wasn't written in the stars for us. And arguably...
What a team you guys had, though.
Yeah.
Oh, what a team.
And I played with some of the... We've played with Balaks, you know, with Crespo's, the like great foreign players, Eden Hazard's, you know, and then I look at the players like Frank, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, Ashley Cole, Rio Ferdinand, and I'm like, they're as good as them. I know that, but it wasn't written in the stars for us. And I hope it can be doing this.
Do you think it was that question of both playing together? Do you think, because obviously they had to find a way to fit both of them together.
Yeah.
Do you think that actually was one of the problems that if a manager came in and said, listen, I'm going to go with Stevie G.
Yeah.
And you, Frank, you have to sit there.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go with Frank and you Stevie G.
Yeah.
No manager came in and made that bold decision. Do you think that
100%,
something that cost
100%,
the English team? Because that was the problem then.
100%. And as well, you had a David Beckham who was on the slide as well.
Exactly.
And and a Michael Owen who wasn't the Michael Owen of before. Michael and David were probably... Scholesy retired early because he was upset. He wanted to be in that midfield position.
Exactly.
So we did need somebody with a little bit of tactical nous. Silly things like that. Michael Carrick's one of the best midfielders I've played with. He played 16 times for England in like 16 years or something stupid. Like no managers thought to themselves, right, we'll put Michael in there next to like Frank or Stevie. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll go with a 3 and then we'll maybe drop David Beckham or we'll drop Scholesy because he can't fit in there. And then we'll bring him on after 60, 70 minutes in his right position. So you're right, tactically, and again, I love Sven. What you'd have loved to play for Sven. He's a player's manager. But
John would have enjoyed a night out with Sven. I think that's the problem.
Sven does like a night out, let me tell you. He does like a night out.
But Sven, so Sven, you like Sven, Joe?
I do like Sven as, I really admire him. What a very good human being and a very good football manager. But I just think we needed someone who was a little bit braver to drop certain players and play the right balance of a team. And we've talked about that, like all of us England players, and we all agree with it. None of us stepped up. And
which one was going to go?
Yeah, they all agree with it till they get the knock on the door. You're not playing tonight, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's one wrapping up. I've got to ask, Chelsea fan. Here's a bit of a kind of strange question, but as a Chelsea fan, Joe, 2003 to 2010, who's the signing the club made that you're saying to your mates, oh, yes, please, I'm having this. And then maybe he didn't quite hit the heights that you were excited for. And don't say...
no, won't be John. And you know what? This guy, and I know the reason why, because with Shevchenko, when we signed Sheva, it was just, he was 29. And now I was 24, 25, whatever it was. But he had a bad hip. We signed him and he just couldn't be the Shevchenko we'd seen play in the Champions League, and it was a shame because he was such a good guy and he trained so hard and he tried to get to the level that he had been, but his body wasn't there. And I think that was one of the reasons why, he was such a big superstar to come and play for us. Ballon d'Or winner, European Footballer of the Year. And we were such a settled team then already, but we had to find a place for him and he wasn't quite as good as... Do you know, the player... He was one of the best strikers in the world in his time, but when he comes to Chelsea, I've spoke to Sheva about it since, his body, he was just on the wane slightly, and it was a shame. But I tell you one thing, the Chelsea fans always recognise someone who's giving their all, and they'll always stood by him, and he's always welcomed back because he give it his all. He wasn't a prima donna. He tried everything. Unfortunately, we got him at the wrong time of his career. 5 years before, it'd have blitzed the Premier League.
Well, you did blitz the Premier League, Joe, and the fact that you two played together. I mean, final word for you, John. It is Zizou alongside you. That was the nickname you gave him, not just for the receding hairline, but just how good. It was great playing with this man.
Amazing. Great playing with him. I mean, Joe was, he was fantastic for the club. Like you said, a guy who supported the club as a youngster. And obviously, to see someone who's a youngster to achieve his dream of playing for a club like Chelsea and representing the club for a very long time. For me, that some of the stories he's told today, I never knew about them. That he was a Chelsea fan growing up and ball boy and all that. So it's nice to see that your dreams came true. And now I'm so pleased to have shared the dressing room with Joe. He was our Zizou, sometimes a bit too much with the ball, but we need, like Joe, we need the ball, get off him. But you know, he's there
still
doing his
screaming like
flips and all that, his flicks and all that. And then Jose's gonna be like, oh, I need to get him off now. But no, fantastic guy. But apart from that, a lovely guy. Human being.
John. Thank you, John.
As a human being. Fantastic human being.
Yeah, listen, Joe, we can't thank you enough. You've taken time out of your holiday in Dubai. We're not paying you anything. So that new apartment on the Palm, it's going to wait another couple of years, Joe.
We can always dream, can't we? We can always dream.
We'll get you on next time. We'll maybe give you some pennies for it. But Joe, it's been a pleasure. It's been great having you on the podcast. Good luck with your future endeavours. I know you're keeping busy. And then you're coming back to London in the next couple of days?
I'm coming back to London tomorrow. I'll be at Stamford Bridge working for the Fulham game at the weekend, which is a tough one.
Okay.
And listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Always great to see John. Top player, top geezer. And yourself.
Thanks, mate.
Keep going with the podcast. It's getting great reviews. All my pals love it. So, we're on.
I love that. Joe Cole, what a pleasure.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Cheers, Joe.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Zizou.
Winning has always been my driving force. Growing up, I dreamt of playing for the Nigerian national team. My passion led me there. The support and unity of players and Nigerian fans led us to the final. Together, we won the African Cup of Nations. A moment that will forever be carved in my heart. Join the winning team with BetWinner.